Pauline Hanson is the leader of One Nation. Her 4 senators would be enough to kill off any of the budget measures that the government wants to get through if Labor and the Greens vote against it. She joins us now from our Canberra studio. Senator, what, if anything, will you already say tonight that you would be willing to vote against?
Paul, overall, I haven't had a chance. I wasn't in the lockup today, so what I've seen of the budget is what in the budget speech that the Treasurer delivered. I'm going to spend the next couple of days speaking to my advisors who actually were in the lockup. I'm questioning where I would have actually addressed it, and I spoke to the Prime Minister today about it. We have gas and petroleum fields like the Northwest Shelf. Now, we're not getting very much out of it at all in royalties. We have got no equity in these fields. Even mining, I would actually say we will get an equity in this gas and petroleum fields to actually bring more money in. I would look at more higher in the royalties taxes. We could make a lot more out of this. I just feel that we've let this bypass us. I think there's some other areas we can actually make people prove that they have the right to collect welfare in doctors, the healthcare. You take a card in. Anyone who is visiting Australia can take their relative's Medicare card to the doctor, then get scripts. And one person ended up in hospital on their cousin's card. And, you know, that's paid by the taxpayer. The welfare, we have welfare cheats. There's so many areas there that we can rein this in, and the rorts that are going on.
How do you feel about the credit card being increased today to $600 billion?
Not happy. Not happy at all. It's all about the spending, and I believe the government needs to rein in the spending. There's too much rorting that's going on, people abusing the system. You have government jobs, infrastructure projects that I think is just blown completely out, and we are paying top dollar for all this. I don't think there is enough, what can I say, even with bureaucrats' wages that we pay in the government. It was myself that raised on the floor of Parliament about the head of the CEO of Australia Post, who was on $5.6 million a year. That was just ridiculous. We have a lot more there. I believe that right across the board we need to rein it in. You spoke about the smokers. I'm not a smoker. I used to be years ago, 20 years ago. We've now raised the excise on smokers, and I think a stick, one cigarette now, they're paying about 62 cents in excise tax on tobacco. Now they're going to charge the same for loose tobacco. When you look at the figures, what they're going to rein in from tobacco, it's more than what they're getting from the multinationals. So the multinationals aren't paying their taxes in this country. And if you go back to 1996, Jim Killelly of the Australian Taxation Office, Assistant Commissioner, he said he believed there was about $200 billion that we are not getting from multinationals. We're now, 20 years down the track, how much are they going to rein in? These are areas that I would attack, not the battlers out there that want to have their cigarette, and I'm not encouraging smoking by no means, but they are going to bring in more in taxes than the multinationals. Give me a break.
Now, what about things like the Medicare levy? Is this something that you're willing to sign up on to? What are some of the things that you're willing to help them with here?
Okay.
Welfare changes. What's the sort of stuff that you like?
Yes, there are. Look, I'm happy that they've actually changed the foreign investors by building a development. Now, I listened to Nathan Rees, his comment about the housing in Australia, and they want to tackle capital, negative gearing and capital gains tax. It was under Labor in 2009 that if a foreign investor did a development in Australia, they just got rid of it. That 50% of it had to be sold to Australians. Labor Party threw that out, and it totally foreign ownership. And they're a bunch of hypocrites when they actually talk about, affordable housing in Australia. So that's a good move that the government's done about that. What the government has to do is get tough on established housing, foreign ownership of established housing in Australia. And I've always said, at point of sale, when you sign the document, you prove you are a permanent resident or an Australian citizen, and you sign off on the bottom with documentation that you are eligible to buy it. We have over 200,000 houses in Sydney alone that is foreign owned. And we need to address that so we make it affordable for Australians. So I'd rein that in.
Yeah, I agree with you.
Talk about the
Senator, you
NDIS. So when you talk about the NDIS, we have over 800,000, correct me if I'm wrong, Peter, 800,000 people on disability schemes. I know of someone who actually got on a disability pension for chronic fatigue, has not been investigated for 4 years. We have to have these people re-investigated. Are they still eligible for the disability scheme? We have to get tough on this. People are ripping us off left, right and centre, and they must prove they are eligible because the taxpayers have had a gutful, the workers have had enough of being taxed more and more and more when the government won't do their jobs to ensure that their tax dollars are spent wisely.
Senator,
Paul,
thank you.
Can I just jump in there?
Yeah, Peter, jump in, mate. I've got to go to a break quickly, but go for it.
Yeah, I just want to jump in and back up what Pauline Hanson has said about the NDIS and the disability support pension. If you remember going back when Gillard first put in the initial lift to the Medicare levy to pay for the NDIS, the commitment at the time, 2013, was this would fully fund the NDIS. It hasn't and it won't. We're now saying it again in this budget. It will not fully fund it. And I am worried about the migration of people off the DSP that are unchecked and in many cases not deserving of disability support pensions who will end up on the NDIS and the cost will keep increasing. This is the big open sore, open wound in the budget that has not been healed.
All right, Peter. And to you, Senator Pauline Hanson, thank you very much. We'll talk again into the future.
Thanks, Paul.
All right, we'll continue